I'd request Victor to unmute so that we can start. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Victor, for the introduction. So my name is Stanislaus Hilton. I was a Q3 intern at S3 Eastern Africa, and I do appreciate you guys for taking this opportunity to join us and join in to listen to our presentation. And I'm hopeful that you guys will gather insights, and also we are also open to get insights from you guys, even as we conclude our internship with our various presentations. So as I begin my presentation, myself, I was working on traffic crash analysis with ArcGIS, and from this solution, you are going to see how ArcGIS technology can be utilized in the area of transportation, and specifically addressing the issues of accidents. So let me begin my presentation. So for the agenda, I'm going to start with the introduction, background of the problem, statement of the problem, project objectives, benefits of this solution, solution architecture, solution prototypes with the demos, conclusion, and then acknowledgement. So this will be the order of my presentation. And a bit of an introduction about myself. So as I've said, my name is Stanislaus Hilton. I have a professional background in urban and regional planning. I concluded my studies in April this year, and now I am awaiting graduation in December 2025, specifically the 19th of December. Aside from that, I am a GIS enthusiast with the aim of applying this GIS technology to solve real-world problems. And this solution is going to be an example of how we can use this technology to tackle real-world problems. I'm also passionate about data-driven solutions for resilient and inclusive urban environments. So we are going to see how we are able to utilize our data that we have with the technology to come up with a solution to address these issues. And also an accolade that I have is that I was privileged to be a nominee of the S3's Young Scholars Award, which took place this year around April. And I was able to present another project that I did. So a bit of the background of the problem, just to take you through how I conceptualized the problem and how I managed to come up with the idea of this solution. So looking at the background of the problem, Kenya has set a national target to reduce the number of road accidents, the fatalities by 50%. And this is also aligning with the UN's Decade of Action for Road Safety 2021 to 2030. So one of the key interventions that Kenya have done is the National Road Safety Action Plan. So the National Road Safety Action Plan was aligning or was looking at the objectives that Kenya have as far as the issue of accidents are concerned, and what is the roadmap that they're going to take to realize this objective that they have of reducing the number of fatalities by 50%. And one of the key priorities of the National Safety Action Plan was to come up with risk-focused intervention for high-risk road users, and also national crash database for monitoring road accidents. One of the key gaps that Kenya have is that they're still reliant on filling of manual logs as far as accidents reporting is concerned. And I feel that one reduces the time it takes for response. Therefore, you find many people are succumbing to this road accidents, and therefore realizing the goal of reducing the number of fatalities by 50%, and you're still using the manual logs, it's going to be a problem. And that's why I've stepped in and looked at how can we use GIS technology to come up with a solution where we're going to address the gap of people still using the manual logs to address the issue of accident reporting. As I move forward, so my study area, I'm focusing basically on Nairobi County. As we all know, even the time we are at this particular moment, even the last few weeks, you've realized so many accidents have been occurring in Nairobi. And we're just looking at how can we, come up with solutions that will try and fit in and address the gaps and reduce the number of accidents that are occurring in Nairobi. Why did I choose Nairobi specifically? Nairobi, as per the police reported data, has accounted for at least 36% of road fatalities. And one of the key priorities of even the National Road Safety Action Plan was, first of all, address the issues in the key urban areas. And Nairobi being the capital city of Kenya, having these interventions is going to be very critical for us. So that's why I decided maybe I can come up with a solution that will be addressing these issues in Nairobi, and maybe in the future we can try and upscale the solution to address any other area in Kenya, or even East Africa, Africa, and even worldwide if it is possible. So for my problem statement, the World Health Organization has reported that at least 1.35 million people die every year from road accidents. And as stated before, Nairobi has accounted for at least 36% of fatalities. And as the number of fatalities are occurring, we're using more resources, and you're finding that 5% of our GDP, which is a significant amount, is being used in the sector of addressing these issues. Therefore, you realize that the lack of a centralized geospatial system for traffic crash analysis and monitoring has led to inaccurate identification of high-risk roadways, intersections, and also inefficiencies in resource allocation. When we're having this centralized geospatial platform, we can channel our finances, we can channel the funds to address the specific transects and the specific roads where we can target our interventions. And this, I feel, will limit the number of accident cases that we are facing in our country today, henceforth, and also realize the 50% reduction of fatalities. So for my project objectives, one was to design a GIS system for geolocation, recording of traffic crashes. As you've seen before, we are still using manual logs. In this day and age, the era of AI, when we're still using the manual logs, it becomes a problem. Therefore, when we have a GIS system for, geolocation, where we are able to locate the accident in real time, and it's able to update in the various system, then it is going to be an advantage for us as a country, and even for Nairobi as a county. And therefore, I'm going to leverage the GIS-based analytical tools for, traffic hotspots detection, and also risk profiling, so that I'm able to profile which modes and which time of the day these accidents are occurring, and which transects, which roads are vulnerable to these cases of accidents. And then lastly, one of my objective was to map hospital accessibility within 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and 5 kilometers drive time. So we are able to see within the 2 kilometers drive time what hospital facilities are available, and what are the gaps, can the planning interventions in Nairobi, say the city county of Nairobi, the planning agency, what interventions can they put in place, to address the issues of shortage of hospitals in the county. Moving forward, so for the benefits of my solution, ArcGIS technology, one of the unique things about this technology is that it is able to, provide a geospatial platform where we can, store data, you're able to manage data, store data, analyze the data, and even share the data to various agencies that may require the use of that data. So you find that this GIS technology is bringing so many functionalities in the same unified geospatial platform. Therefore, I found it very beneficial for us to, apply this GIS system. So looking at the issue of traffic, looking at the issue of accidents, when we're having a platform where we're able to consolidate data, we're able to report data, we're able to analyze data, we're able to share this data, then it's going to be very beneficial. So also policymakers, the national road safety agencies in Kenya, such as the NTSA, the KURA, which is in charge of the urban roads, specifically in the urban areas, can, make use of this geospatial platform, and it can help them to target their interventions. And also, another advantage of GIS is, real-time data access. GIS has an ability to, be able to record data and it is able to display in real time using the various apps such as ArcGIS survey and even the field maps. And also improved, crash reporting. We are moving away from the manual logs. So we're trying to, adapt this technology to be able to report these incidences. And also we're able to address the gaps in hospital service delivery and also address, equitable access to the healthcare, such that even as the accidents are occurring, we're able to, respond in efficient time. And then for the solution architecture, so solution architecture is basically an explanation of how I conceived my project from the beginning of the project to the end, and what are the capabilities of the GIS that is able to enable me come up with the project. So even as you're looking, I hope you can see my cursor. My project started from the ArcGIS Pro, which is a desktop interface. So ArcGIS Pro desktop interface enables you to conduct a variety of analysis. And this analysis we can translate to the ArcGIS online platform. So the online platform will enable you to come up with the hub site, to enable you to share the information, to enable you to display the information for the dashboard. So what I did, I went to the ArcGIS Pro, defined my county boundary, mapped the various road layers in Nairobi, the hospital, and the accident data that I acquired from the World Bank Group. And then I consolidated them in the ArcGIS Pro, did a bit of an analysis, and then came up with a database where I have the road network layers, the road accident hotspot areas, and the health facilities. And then after conducting this analysis, I translated it to the ArcGIS online platform, where I'm able to come up with the ArcGIS survey forms for live location mapping. You're able to fill details of accidents as they are occurring. And also, it has the timestamps that you're able to, fill in the time. And also, I have a web map that will be able to display the high injury networks and intersection. And then the executive access, people are able to access this data. Let's say the KENHA, KURA, KERA, NTSA are able to access this data and use this data to target their intervention. And also a reporting interface, the dashboards, where now you can display the accidents as they are occurring in terms of the time of the day. You're able to map vulnerability in terms of the modes and everything. So ArcGIS capabilities. This is just a narration of how can ArcGIS be used? What are the capabilities of these softwares? People usually just think of ArcGIS as, a mapping software. But now we are showing you that this software has a variety of capabilities. And these capabilities can be utilized and can be used to come up with interventions, to target, channeling of resources, to target reporting, it will enable you to manage your data properly. So one of the capabilities is data preparation and integration, as I've explained before in ArcGIS Pro, where I'm able to integrate the various road networks, the administrative boundaries, and the base layers. And also data collection, the ArcGIS survey form, you're able to input crash details, and it is able to display in real time. And also one useful thing about ArcGIS is that ArcGIS enables you to, do advanced spatial analytics, such as for my case, I'm able to do, hotspot detection. Hotspot communicates more on where are these road accidents occurring, where are the places where most of the accidents are occurring, where are the places where accidents are not occurring as oftenly. And then also, we have a reporting interface. We're able to report the results of our analysis in the various dashboards, in the instant apps, and even story maps. So story maps is a creative way where you can use information, you can use map, you can use media to able to display your information instead of just doing reports, instead of just doing Word documents and PowerPoint documents. You're able to tell your stories in story maps with information such as videos, text, and everything. So those are the capabilities. Now, moving forward, I'm going to demonstrate how this traffic crash analysis solution is able to sort out the issue of accidents in Nairobi. And I hope you guys will enjoy and will understand how we can utilize this technology and understand the power of this technology. So for my demos, as you're able to see my cursor, I have a high injury network locator. I have a fatal and serious injury dashboard. I have traffic crash input form and service area analysis dashboard. And I'm going to display this in a short while. So I'm going to begin with the high injury locator. So what is this high injury locator app? So this app is very useful. It has a variety of layers. You have the intersections in Nairobi, you have the streets, you have the administrative boundaries as highlighted, and you also have the hotspot of the traffic occurring. So you're able to display whichever information you want. Let's say you don't want to see the boundary, you can always, put it on and off, and just shows the beauty of GIS. So let me put everything on and then demonstrate a bit of how this app operates. So as you can see, this is Nairobi County, and you can see the various road networks highlighted in red and the intersections highlighted in points. So what is the usefulness of this app? Say this app is able to, enable stakeholders identify which specific road networks are vulnerable to these accidents that are occurring. And this makes it easier for them, to channel their funds, to channel their interventions to the specific road networks. You can perform further analysis and now understand what is the infrastructure capability of these roads. Let's say maybe we need curb ramps, maybe we need street lights, maybe we need to put more police officers in these various intersections to reduce the number of accidents. So what we do with this app is that, we have a widget where you're able to, type the location. So let's say, for my case, I will type the Nyayo Stadium location in Kenya. So this is able to give you a buffer. So this buffer, you're able to limit it to the extent that you want. So this one, I can limit it. Official from Kura, I am an official from Kera, I'm an official from NTSA. I'm able to limit to that specific, buffer as highlighted in that circle. And as it limits to that particular area, we're able to see the intersections. Let's say we're able to see the Nyayo Stadium roundabout. We're able to see the total number of crashes per year that occurs in this particular intersection. We're also able to see the crashes per million vehicles entering this particular intersection. And it is very interactive. You can even see it as it displays on the map. Another intersection within this area, we can see the Haile Selassie roundabout. And also we can see the total number of crashes. This is the rate of crash in this particular roundabout. So let's say an NGO, let's say the county government would want to understand what is it that is happening in Haile Selassie roundabouts to make it, prone to this accident. So this high injury network locator will enable you to, search the addresses and, just target intervention in the specific area that you'll want to study on. So that is it for the high injury network locator. And then moving on to the fatal and serious injury dashboard. As I've told you, a dashboard is, a web interface where you're just able to display most of the results of your analysis. You're able to display, like for instance, for my case, I was able to obtain data for the accidents that have occurred in Nairobi between the year 2012 to the year 2025. And it is able to display on the dashboard. So when you click anywhere on the map, let's say in this area, you're able to click, you will see that a pedestrian was involved in an accident on the Friday, December the 2nd of 2016 at 8:39. And this information is able to display. You can see the total number of crashes, and it is very interactive. It reduces as you zoom in and you pan in the map. You can see the hour of the day that the accidents are occurring, the month of the year that the accidents are mostly occurring, and the day of the week. And one of the advantages of this dashboard is also you can filter based on which mode you would want to, look at, which mode you would want to understand. Let's say, for instance, I just want to filter the results for the motorist. I'm able to see the locations of the motorists where the accidents are occurring. Let's say I just want to, target the pedestrians and not the motorists. I'm able to see the pedestrians. And also we're able to filter based on the fatalities. You can see the number of fatal accidents that occurred. And also another filtering thing is that you're able to, have a date range. You can filter, let's say, a government would want to know what is the rate of the accident that occurred in Nairobi in the year 2024 between December to July. Therefore, when you filter between December to July here, you're able to display the total number of accidents with the location. So that is it for my dashboard. And then moving on. So traffic crash input form. So, that is just the dashboard was just displaying the accidents that have occurred. But now we are stepping in also to try and, reduce the use of the manual logs. So this traffic crash input form will enable you to, input traffic in real time. You're able to, display your location, the latitude, the longitude, the street name, the date of the crash, the severity. And one advantage of this is that immediately you submit it, it displays on the dashboards, it displays on the instant app and everything. So this one will step in for the police officers, the fact that they're using the manual logs right now. This thing can be very useful for them. Let's say an accident has occurred in Upper Hill. When I allow my location, it is able to take me to my particular location with the latitudes. It's able to display the latitudes. And also I'm able to fill in the street name. Let's say Longonot Street in Upper Hill. And also the date of the crash. Today is the 2nd of October. And let's say the crash has occurred at this time, it is able to display that. And then for the severity section, you're able to based on how the accident has occurred, maybe it is fatal, the mode, and then just for validity of this information, you can key in your name. My name is Hilton, and my phone number for follow-up, 580253. And once you submit this information, it is able to display on the various dashboards, and we're able to collect this information in real time. Therefore, this is an interface where the general public, if they have access to this traffic crash input form, they're able to display the information in real time. And then finally, for my last dashboard, this is the service area analysis dashboard. So what does this dashboard do? So this dashboard visualizes the hospital accessibility by mapping the service area within 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, and 3 kilometers drive time. Let's say an accident has occurred in a particular place. Within the 2 kilometers buffer zone, you're able to identify what hospital facilities are in this particular place. And let's say a planning agency, the Nairobi City County Planning Department, will want to address the gap in terms of hospital coverage. This dashboard will be useful for them to identify the hospitals within 2 kilometers drive time, within 3 kilometers drive time, and within 5 kilometers drive time. So you also have a filter where you can see the number of hospitals within 2 kilometers drive time. So for this case, you can see we have, as I click on the map, Huruma Lions Clinic. We have another one, Wilson Airport Dispensary. You can also filter within 1 kilometer drive time. So let's say this particular area relies within the 1 kilometer drive time. You can see the number of hospitals within this area, and also we can, target intervention. Let's say there are shortages in hospital. We're able to display the number of fatalities that have occurred within these particular areas, and we are able to address the gaps in hospitals. So this service area analysis dashboard enables us to, address the gap in terms of hospital accessibility. So what you do when you have this dashboard is just you update the hospital layers, you update the traffic crash layers as they're occurring, and we're able to see the number of facilities within that particular kilometer drive time. And this will be very useful for planning agencies, and they can use this to, address even the areas that are outside the 2 kilometers, 5 kilometers, 3 kilometers. And then somebody would ask, why did I decide on 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, and 5 kilometers? This will translate to around 10 minutes, 15 minutes, because as an accident is occurring, you want to reach the facilities as fast as possible. So when we have enough hospitals within the 2 kilometers drive time, means that once an accident has occurred, we can easily access a facility, and it makes it easier for us. So that is it for my solution. And for my conclusion, I will say, leave you with a quote and say, from data to action. What I had was just data. I had data from accident. It was filled in an Excel form. But now ArcGIS is able to give me all these capabilities. I'm able to come up with this particular app. I'm able to come up with dashboards to display this information. I'm able to come up with forms to, updating this information in real time. I'm also able to map out these facilities and, try and address the gaps in terms of how the facilities are distributed within Nairobi County. So I feel this solution is wholesome and can be very useful for the agencies that would want to use this particular solution. And I feel NTSA, the Nairobi City County Government, Kera, Kura, Kenha can easily use this solution and are able to do their workflows from end to end. One other thing about GIS is that you're able to integrate the customer's workflow within your solution. So these solutions gives the customer the end-to-end productivity. You have data, you're able to analyze data, you're able to display the data, and you're able to also to report the data to the various people who might want to use this data. So, I had just crash data, road network hospitals. And now with the traffic crash analysis solution powered by ArcGIS, I'm able to, target interventions to those particular transects and networks. I'm able to target interventions in terms of the health facilities. I'm also able to, channel the interventions in the accident hospital areas and also limit the response time. And when we use this solution, I think it will play a very big role in Kenya realizing their goal of 50% fatalities reduction by the year 2030. And I believe that is what all of us want. All of us don't want to see these accidents occurring. All of us don't want to see people succumbing for these accidents. And I feel this solution is going to be very useful and it can be scaled. So anyone who would want to further this solution and integrate AI and IoT, it is also open for that. So for my acknowledgement, I want to sincerely thank the ESRI fraternity with their staff for offering me this opportunity because myself, I had knowledge on ArcMap. Now we are migrating to ArcGIS Pro. I've been able to learn all this and you see the output that I've been able to produce. Therefore, they have been very pivotal, they've been very hands-on, and I'm grateful for that. I'm also grateful for Mr. Sydney Nyongesa, together with Mr. Dennis and the other staff who have been very crucial in shaping my project direction and guidance. And I'll also want to extend my gratitude to the World Bank Group. Accessing the data for accident it's not very easy, but the fact that they were able to provide me with the data to realize my goal was very useful and I'm very thankful for that. And lastly, I would want to acknowledge myself. Not many people do that, but I want to acknowledge myself for the dedication and the efforts that I put in place for these projects to come to completion. And for any questions, you can come in later. And next, I would want to invite Abigail Karema to present her project. And I hope you will enjoy her project as well. Thank you very much, guys.
Good morning, everyone. I trust that you all can hear me. My name is Abigail Kagema, not Karema Hilton, and I would like to welcome you all to my presentation of ArcGIS GeoAI workflows for mineral exploration. Um, I am Abigail Kagema. I am a geomatic engineering and GIS graduate from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. From there, I gained a background in geospatial data analysis, remote sensing, and predictive modeling. I was able to build on those skills during my internship here at S3 Eastern Africa, where I was able to sharpen my skills in machine learning and data analysis. And I have done so by creating a project that applies machine learning in ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS notebooks to integrate various data sets for gold prospectivity mapping in Kakamega. Gold prospectivity mapping is predictive mapping for detecting where mineral deposits are. These are the outputs I have include polygon-based target zones with volumetric estimates, and the results have been delivered through ArcGIS dashboards, story maps, and the ArcGIS Hub portal. So the reason why this project is vital and crucial, especially at this time where the world is evolving to a more AI and machine learning geared perspective, is that for one, mining in Kenya is very, it's especially when it comes to gold in the greenstone terrain, especially when it comes to gold mining in the greenstone terrain, that area is very underexplored. The exploration efforts that have been made, the conventional methods that are known, are very slow and very costly. It's normally a hit or miss. There is, of course, input from geological and scientific inputs, but there are data gaps there are data gaps in how they present. There are data gaps in spatial coverage and integration. So to summarize, there is a lack of a scalable data-driven system that allows for cost-effective, rapid, and spatially comprehensive mineral prospectivity assessment. So the solution I have come up with is a mineral prospectivity map. It is a combination of machine learning, GeoAI workflows, and geospatial analysis. I have used machine learning for gold prospectivity mapping. GeoAI workflows have been used to integrate geology, geochemistry, and remote sensing datasets. And this allows for a faster, cost-effective, and more accurate exploration. The system is scalable, dependent on the data availability and support from stakeholders. The objectives of this project are one, to integrate geology, structure, DEM, and remote sensing datasets into a comprehensive predictor dataset that can be used for comprehensive mapping, which will later be inputted into a machine learning system, which will enable for the creation of the prospectivity maps. This is done through rapid prospectivity modeling, where machine learning is applied to efficiently identify high potential gold zones across the greenstone belt. This will help in creating transparent decision support by delivering an interactive portal via dashboard, story maps, and app, which will enable for stakeholder access, faster planning, and reduced exploration costs. The benefits of this solution are one, cost and time efficiency. Everyone knows that we look for gaining maximum profit with minimum input. So this helps in reducing the costs, in reducing the time used for exploration, and it helps in exponentially increasing the profit margin. Also, machine learning is a trusted analysis method. A lot of the methods used for prospectivity mapping in the past were very dependent on expert-defined code, and expert-defined outcomes, expert-defined prediction methods, and this is very prone to human bias because someone may have come across something earlier on in their career or something like that, and this has influenced the way they look at how data interacts with each other. But machine learning doesn't have this shortcoming. It learns from data sets and then creates a pattern on its own, which allows for prediction. The prediction allows for actionable insights. It delivers a county-wide prospectivity map, and this can be scaled to areas beyond the county. It can go all the way to Migori County, and it can expand to even a national level portal where you get more mineral prospectivity mapping. And also it enables for stakeholder access by providing an interactive ArcGIS Hub portal for transparent, scalable, and future-ready mineral assessments. So ArcGIS, the ArcGIS capabilities in this particular project is that one, it integrates certain predictor datasets, geological datasets, structure datasets, terrain, and geochemistry datasets in order to create a prospectivity framework. Sentinel-2 and DEM derivatives are part of the predictors which are put together to create key indices like clay, iron oxide, terrain, and lineament density. The machine learning models used in this particular project are the random forest and support vector machine, and they have been integrated in ArcGIS Pro with full machine learning workflows. The outputs have been reclassified into 5 classes, which converts and has converted the raster into polygons, and which estimates gold volumes at assumed depths of 50 meters, 150 meters, 250 meters, and 500 meters. There is, of course, the dashboard, story maps, and ArcGIS Hub used to present the results. So the predictors, these are the indicators that come together to determine where gold is. Certain datasets. The first are geochemical pathfinders. The meaning is in the name. They point to where a certain mineral deposit is. There are certain chemical compositions in the earth that point to where a particular mineral is, and there are specific ones for gold. There are also alteration indices. Alteration for when it comes to the case of soil is where as a rock comes into contact with hot minerals, and this causes their structure to be altered. This leaves traces. It leaves a sort of hollow around those rocks, and detecting these hollows helps one to find out where gold may be. There are also ratio rasters. These are rasters created from doing certain mathematical manipulation on rasters by data sets in order to be able to get where, and it offers insights that might be missed by alteration indices and geochemical pathfinders. There is also distance to fault. The closer a rock is to a fault line, the higher its chances of it having a deposit. There is also a digital elevation model, which is a raster which has elevation data, and from it one can also be able to derive other data like curvature and slope. Curvature is how the land bends. For example, valleys, ridges, that is curvature. Slope, we know, is the steepness of the land, and it also helps in determining the machine could learn maybe at a certain slope is where there are deposits and a certain slope is where they are not. Lithology is rock structure. Granite rocks, gneiss, morphological rock, volcanic rock, all of these are the rock structures. The indicators that I mentioned earlier, the remote sensing imagery from satellite to imagery, where I obtained indices. The indices are the ferrous index, clay index, and iron oxide index. There is geology and structure, that is the distance to the fault lines, and there is topography and DEM data. All of this data was collected and prepared at ArcGIS Pro. Afterwards, I did the machine learning modeling still on ArcGIS Pro via notebooks. And then from them, I was able to obtain the machine learning products, which are rasters with prospectivity levels at a scale of 0 to 1. And then these rasters are then turned into polygons, which are then hosted on ArcGIS Online. And then from ArcGIS Online, the maps of the targets and certain insights, they have all been, I have processed them all on ArcGIS dashboards. A field team may use Survey 123 to verify the data via ground truthing. This data is accessible to stakeholders like the Ministry of Mining and other mining companies. So let me take a moment to explain what machine learning algorithms are. As I explained, machine learning is basically training your machine to do predictions or other types of tasks for you. You give your machine certain data sets, it trains on these data sets, and then from these data sets, it is able to make certain decisions. So I was able to train the random forest and support vector machine models, after which I I measured for model performance, and then I used them to predict. And after this, I did the reclassification. Let me just take a moment to show you the methods that I underwent for the mapping. I hope you can see my ArcGIS Pro screen, where this is the code that I use for point extraction. The points you have here, they are indicators and they are in raster form. So I turned them into point data, which was then used. After extracting this data, I trained them on these models. This is the random forest model, and this is where I trained it, and these are the prospectivity rasters that I obtained at the end. This is the support vector machine model, and these are the indicators and this is the final product, the two prospectivity rasters. Accuracy, we can see accuracy, there are variations in accuracy for the random forest model and the SVM model, and this can also be seen through a confusion matrix for both of these models. So heading back to the presentation, what is RF and what is SVM? RF stands for random forest. And imagine a forest made up of very many decision trees. Each tree makes a decision based on the data you have given it. And then the model combines all of these decisions from all of this tree into a forest, which then helps to come out with the best option. The support vector machine picks the best place to place a boundary between two data points. For example, in my case, the support vector machine picks the best borderline between a high prospectivity area and maybe a low prospectivity area. So my demo is an AI-powered gold prospectivity geoportal. It highlights the hidden mineral deposits through the machine learning analysis. It integrates satellite data and geological models, and it supports sustainable mining by reducing environment risks, because now the exploration will be targeted. We say data decision making is data driven. When you know where to look, it reduces the chances of accidents occurring from continuous work, and also it reduces a lot of the money and the effort and the time used for exploration. Also, here are the results for this is the random forest results. The yellow areas, these are the random forest results. The yellow areas are very low. The greens are where there is very, very high prospectivity. As you can see, the blue areas are where there is an overlap between the support vector machine and the random forest. So here in the random, these are the support vector machine results. This raster is the support vector machine result, and you can see the difference between the two, between the random forest and the support vector machine. So all of this has been consolidated into a mineral prospectivity portal. This portal is able to show this portal is a combination of all the insights that have come together in order to create the prediction rasters for all the models. So for the first one, we have, of course, as you can see, this map that transitions from the random forest to the support vector machine models. All of them, it provides insights, and these insights can be shown through two dashboards. There is the exploration insights dashboard. This dashboard is basically a kind of summary on the differences between the random forest and the support vector machine models. This prospectivity dashboard shows the differences between, for example, in area. As we can see in the random forest areas, the most dominant place is moderate. It has predicted that most of Kakamega has moderate prospectivity. There is a significant amount of very high prospectivity and a significant amount of very high prospectivity. This is varied with what we get from the support vector machine model, which provides it has very high levels of low and very low, and it has and it has a very good amount of very high prospectivity levels. But we need to know which one of these two models works best, which one do we pick. So to do that, we compare the accuracy levels. For example, we can see that for the random forest, accuracy is higher compared to support vector machine. This is the same with precision. For random forest is higher, and recall rate and F1 score for all of this is higher. A more specific way is looking at the confusion matrix. A confusion matrix is the matrix that compares actual data versus the predicted data. The y-axis is the actual data, and the x-axis is the predicted data. We can see here for the support vector machine, the very 7 million pixels have been correctly identified as very low. The only correct values are along the diagonal. So for example, here we can see that support vector machine has incorrectly picked 1.5 million pixels as low while they are very low, and 813,000 pixels as moderate while they are very low. And this is when we compare it to what the random forest has done. Random Forest has picked 7 million pixels as very low correctly, and you can see that the numbers that have been predicted incorrectly are not as they are not as many as they are in the support vector machine. The distribution in the random forest confusion matrix is very even, which tells us that this model is more robust. And this makes sense because random forest is a model that handles many data sets better. Support vector machine is better with handling complex data sets. I combined the two so that I may gain insight because the data was very complex. These rasters added up to 56 separate rasters, and random forest is used for its robustness with dealing with huge amounts of data. Now we can go back to the portal where we look at the administrative insights via a dashboard which delivers county level information and information on sub-county level information and information on the different on the areas of overlap. So here we look at the areas where the overlap has been very high, where the very high prospectivity areas have overlapped for both the SVM and RF models. So we can see here that in Kolomani sub-county, for example, it is where there is the highest overlap in very high levels. In Malava, it is the second most. And when it comes to high, Ikolomani sub-county still has, so maybe this is a tip for some of you gold rushers. If you go to Ikolomani sub-county, maybe you'll find something there. We can see differences in the high prospectivity in the overlap area. The very high prospectivity has higher area compared to the high prospectivity area, and we can see the components that have made it up. SVM predicted 950 meters squared as having very high prospectivity, and random forest predicted 505 meters squared. These are values that can be reflected also in the high prospectivity, where 295 meters squared were predicted as high prospectivity by random forest, and SVM predicted 113 meters squared. So that is all for the geoportal. The geoportal also offers insights into the total area for high prospectivity for random forest and support vectors separately. Also, it offers a chance for ground truthing. This model is only as good as the datasets that have been inputted into it, and it can only be verified by people on the ground. So this is why there is this survey form. This survey form helps, it's a survey form that helps someone on the ground who has indeed confirmed that there is gold here to be able to fill in the form Sorry for that. Sorry for that. Let me reshare my screen. It seems I had fallen off for a minute. So this is the gold verification portal, the gold ground truthing survey. So here you fill in your name, you fill in your email, and then you point to where you point to the area where you feel. For example, if I went and found a gold mine at an area with very high prospectivity, all I'll do is mark here, fill in my form, with my name, Abigail Kagama, my email, and this automatically is reflected in a map that, and this is automatically reflected in a map that can be seen, that can be seen. It is automatically reflected in a map that is used for verification purposes. So these two blue points are points that have been chosen for ground truthing. So assuming that this point actually have gold deposits, this would be something that is used to confirm the presence of gold in this area. So this can be seen in through this ground truthing form, which you fill in, and then it reflects the data in this map directly. And this can be seen in our portal. After one has filled in the data in the survey form, it can be reflected in the portal here at the ground truthing portal. So this helps in providing information for verification. So this model it goes beyond predicting, and we are looking for input from the public to help in making it more robust and in confirming the results for this entire project. So what would make this project better? For one, it's data. We all know the famous term garbage in, garbage out. So the data sets need to be very specified to the area for one, and we also need geophysical data sets like magnetics and resistivity, which increases insights, and it also gives us deeper insight into mineralization patterns. Also, drone imagery would be more preferable to remote sensing because of its high spectral because of its because because of its high resolution, which helps in creating more specified data. And we could also incorporate time series data, which will track changes of mineralization over time. We can also collect field data to help validate and calibrate the models for better prediction as time goes. So I am done. Please do not hesitate to ask your questions via the chat method, and I will be back to answer them. For acknowledgements, I would like to first thank ESRI Eastern Africa for giving me this opportunity to be able to come here and to learn. I would also like to thank Mr. Sydney Nyongesa for helping us and guiding us through this entire process. I would also like to give a special thanks to Mr. Matthew Mbiu and Miss Sarah Margaret for helping me throughout this project, helping me in finding data and guiding me through advice and everything. I would like to thank my fellow colleagues for being here with me and we have been encouraging each other throughout this journey. And last but not least, I would like to thank me for believing in me and for showing up. So thank you all so much for tuning in. And I would like to now introduce Miss Faith Talam.
Morning. You can hear. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Abigail. It was a nice presentation. I'm one of the interns at ESRI Eastern Africa, presenting a solution tailored towards electrification planning. So the agenda, I will speak about me a bit of the introduction, a background on the solution, and then detail the problem statement faced in the nation, the various objectives aimed to be achieved by the solution, detail on the solution architecture, give a few of the benefits, and show you the product, and conclude. So I am Faith Talam, an engineering graduate from Dedan Kimathi with a degree in geomatics engineering and GIS. My professionalism has been nurtured previously in the Research Institute under Dedan Kimathi, where I was later nominated for the ESRI Eastern African Scholar Award and was one of the recipients. It has been an honor to partake in this intern quota, and I'm pleased to be here. So the solution is tailored and aligns with Sustainable Development Goal 7, which states to ensure affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy to all. Despite the national electrification efforts, you find that only 58% of the country is connected to the networks, and many parts of the region remain underserved, majorly due to high infrastructure costs with regard to grid extensions. The various communities in an area are dispersed with regard to settlement location, and there's also a fragmented planning process with these electrification strategies. The main programs that are used in the country include the grid extension and last mile connectivity project. There is also the transmission upgrades, such as the project being run by Ketraco at the moment to encourage and improve the supply of power. There is the Sultan Humad high voltage line and also the Isanja in Kajiado to Tanzania interconnector. And there's also a setup of grid solutions. The major players in these electrification plannings include the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum, REREC, KPLC, who are the major suppliers, and county governments, which are in charge of making the county energy plans. Also, they work alongside other development partners, such as the World Bank, that finance major electrification programs. There's also the African Development Bank and USAID. Also, there are private energy developers that are driving the universal access in line with the goal of Vision 2030, doing efforts such as setting up the solar panels and other renewable energy initiatives. So my study area is Kajiado County, which is located at the southwestern region of Kenya. The county is rich in Maasai culture, and as this remains to be its major economic background, the proximity of respective towns within Kajiado, including Ngong, Kitengela, and Rongai, have sustainably grown and making the county one of the fast growing among others. So the major problem with the electrification planning efforts nationwide is that there is a difficulty in determining which communities are underserved and which communities are connected to the existing electric grid. You find that in Kajiado, about 40% only is connected to the electric grid, 20% majorly rely on renewable energy, whereas the rest of the 40% remain underserved. This is also as an effect of the lack of a centralized tool to collaborate For instance, the REREC team and the Kenya Power who supply to collaborate on these electrification planning efforts. So I'm trying to come up with a system that will unify the electrification efforts and ensure that the decision making is data-driven with respect to ensuring access to electricity, which in line with the Energy Act 2018, they're aiming for 70% of coverage at the end of 2030. And so the objectives of this solution are threefold. The first being identification of the connected households and the ones that are underserved and away from the existing grid. The second one will be to recommend the optimal electrification plans that will be guided, whether it's extending the grid, setting up the off-grid connections, or either adopting renewable energies. It could be solar or wind. And the third is to provide now the platform that will support collaborative planning between the various stakeholder managements. So into my solution architecture, majorly, the system will be an ecosystem, meaning it will allow the programs and plannings from customer-based up to the power supply end of the stakeholders. So what will basically happen, we'll have the field maps and field survey forms that can be filled by a respective customer who wants access to electricity. The data will now be collected and portrayed on the site that is designated for the geopower access. Once the data has been collected, the region will be evaluated to understand the existing grid around the area and also the renewable energy sites that are within the region. And then a topology analysis in line with network analysis is done to allow for the recommendation of the optimal electrification strategy. Also, under the ArcGIS Pro, I did a imagery analysis to understand the solar irradiance occurrences around a region and the wind power that is being portrayed in the area. This will help to recommend potential sites that either the solar windmills or wind turbines or the solar panels will be placed and sited. So there's going to be an electrification planning system that will aid and help in the planning of the scenario modeling to allow now interactive grid and the demographic with respect to the customer who wants the power access. Then there will be a grid viewer that will allow the stakeholder to understand the coverage of this electric grid within a region. There'll be a renewable energy status that will be able to portray the evaluation of the renewable energy status currently. The various capabilities adopted are data collection and management, that is, allow for storing also, and field operations. This negates the process of acquiring the various infrastructure data and customer details for the system. The imagery and remote sensing analysis also to understand the various solar irradiances and potential of renewable energy sites being adopted. Spatial analysis also comes in handy to be able to critique these served and underserved regions, prioritizing the health centers, the education centers, and majorly the training centers. The software adopted also allows for mapping and visualization, which comes in handy as regard to the spatial aspect. So the benefits of this system will be first to allow for targeted planning and ensure that when these electrification efforts are being rolled out, they are being rolled out in regions that highly require the electric access, and the investments being made will later have a great impact on the region. It will also promote the renewable energy initiatives, which leads to the increase of feed-in tariffs. Also, it will ensure an increase in the high population count regions, an increase of the revenue, as once they get power, they'll pay a certain amount, and it will have a positive impact on the power supply in the country. Also, the greatest benefit is the collaboration between the respective energy developers and the major players in the energy sector. So this is the homepage of the system. It allows for analysis and viewing of the grid existing and the renewable energy sites that are currently providing power to respective regions, and also allows for an electrification planning in case of a new customer that requires power supply. Yeah. So what is new with EPS? The major aspect is that it will allow for the critique of these served and underserved regions. First, to identify the priority areas, and also to aid stakeholders in making decisions on the respective electrification strategies that will be adopted to ensure power access to all energies, and allow for the identification of other regions within the area that can be able to be set up to be these renewable energy sites and have a greater output of the power energies. So the renewable energy site shows the existing energy sites, with the yellow pens showing the solar energy sites and the wind sites being shown here. For instance, this close to the castle. As you can see, I have shown the energy site, the renewable energy site here, to allow for the interactive viewing of the respective sites in this area. There's also a visualization of the potential renewable energy sites, that is the existing mini grids and ones that are under development, the potential hydro power sites and the potential geothermal power sites that are currently in the area. There's also the renewable energy status dashboard that depicts the current statistics of the renewable energy. In the world, globally, wind power is 8.8% covers the share of the energy globally, while solar 6.9%. In Kenya, wind power is around 13.2% and solar 3.1%. The two energy are majorly adopted because of the low carbon intensity, which comes in handy and is very effective with regard to the carbon emission. So the dashboard allows for interactivity such that you can understand the coverage of the renewable energy with respect to a certain word. For instance, in Puko, you can see in Puko, the number of buildings are around 6.8, and the word only makes use of solar energy technology, with the distribution of this renewable energy being used in grassland, ranching, and rangeland land uses. You can also view the electric grid dashboard that shows the area coverage, the current area coverage of the electric access. I consider that a larger percentage of the area within Kajiado is not covered by the electric grid. You can also see the count of transformers in the region. In Kitengela, they're around 77, and the ones in Kiserian are around 130. Here you can also interactively view the respective wards in the region and understand the spatial location and also the distribution of the respective transformers. Also, the buildings are being shown with respect to either the connectivity to the grid or whether they're not connected to the grid. This is clearly shown in a later scenario on the EPS dashboard. Yeah. So there's a form that a customer can fill in case they want electric access. And once the customer fills, there is the GIS analysts or planners who can do the scenario modeling. So let's take an instance. There's a certain region that is not covered with access to the electric grid. They don't have the connectivity. So they request for the power. You can see these buildings, the yellow buildings show access, while the gray ones have no access to the electric grid. So in case this client that is in this building requires access to electricity, the system allows for measurement from the client to the nearest transformer, and it will detail the distance and the orientation from the building to the transformer, which can then be used to aggregate the budget and provide a recommendation of whether on which electrification program can be used to allow electric access to that particular building. So I took a case of now electrification efforts in Kikonyoike ward. The area coverage is around 188 kilometers, hectares, I mean, sorry. And you can see that still many households do not have access to the electricity. The coverage of the medium voltage, low voltage, and also the distribution transformers is also detailed here, with the low voltage covering 78% of the area, medium voltage 14%, and the distribution transformer covering only 7%. The major structures in the region are the H pole. The structure of the poles, majorly H poles are adopted, but there's also single and ground for those who require high voltage power. Yeah, and you can also see the ratio of the poles, the material that is used to set up, construct the poles, with 20% being concrete and 80%, around 80% being wooden. And also with this electrification planning tool, you can choose, let's say a customer is next to is along Magadi Road or Karen, the customer will be able to use this transformer. So the category of the transformer is detailed with respect to their physical location. Also, the major aspect of this system is to highlight the areas of the low connectivity region and provide aid in decision making for the electrification efforts. This aligns with many local plans, because who doesn't want electricity access? Yeah, and also with the nation's vision of 2030. The utility is in efficient planning. Sorry, the government institutions and utilities are also adopted and are empowered. Sorry. The system supports government institutions' plans, for instance, the county government plans to make the electrification efforts and ensure access to all the households within a certain county. Also, the communities can make their own plans to encourage the access within their region and request for specific energy technology. So let's say a community that is around a 500 buffer. Let me show. A community that is around a 500 buffer, around the transformer, they can opt for grid extension since the budget is not that high. But now, with regard to a community that is, let's say, 1,000 kilometers away from a respective transformer, they can opt for the electrification planning and opt for now adopting renewable energy sites. If the region has a high solar radiance, they can opt for solar, and if the wind power is high, they can opt to set up the windmills or wind turbines. Also, this can be done with the system. As you can see, I adopted this. And when you click on one of the lines, you can see the distance to the nearest transformer and the recommendation that is given with respect to the specific region. Now for these, that is outside, you can see the distance is 1,000 from this respective transformer. And the recommendation given is they should consider other electrification strategies. So I believe the system can come in handy majorly with the electrification planning efforts in the country, which will ensure that the investments that are being made are highly effective and have a great impact on the respective community, fostering socioeconomic growth and promoting the various energy initiatives that are being conducted within the nation. Thank you. I'd like to acknowledge the S3 fraternity and also special thanks to Mr. Dennis, Mr. Sydney, Sir Geoffrey, Mr. Maxwell, and my fellow interns for their support. And also, I deeply appreciate the guidance that was provided in helping me shape my solution from an idea. And I will also like to encourage constructive feedback from the attendees and also encourage the adoption of the respective of this system by the energy planning developers and also the energy electrification effort planners. I'd also like to acknowledge my work and my commitment in this solution and the dedication in the internship period. Thank you. I'd like to invite our next presenter, Giovanni Buoyo. Thank you.
Hello. Hello. Hi, everyone. I hope I'm audible. My name is Giovanni. I'm going to present my project Kilimotech, which is an integrated smart agricultural platform that uses ArcGIS. Now, what if the farmer could be able to see their weather, their health, the health of their crops, just as they can see the weather information in their phone? What if that could be possible? That is the vision behind our application Kilimotech. Before diving into what the application, or rather the project did, I'd like to explain a little bit about myself. I am Giovanni Buoyo, who is a data scientist and with a computer science background and experience in working with Python and Python-based frameworks. Over the last 3 months, I've been at Esri. I'm deeply grateful for the internship opportunity where I've been able to apply my skills in trying to combine GIS and IT and coming up with solutions around this intersection. So now let us dive into the problem statement. The main problem is that I came up with, or rather that drove the sorry, excuse me. Straight to the problem statement. farmers, they lacked intelligence in, sorry. So the problem statement, farmers lacked timely intelligence on crop health, soil moisture, and weather threats, and that resulted in lower yields, late response, inefficient use of inputs, reduced resilience to climate shocks. Secondly, we found out that agronomists, they struggle to monitor vast areas efficiently. Without early detection, they get affected by pests, droughts, stress, and floods can actually escalate. And also executives, their data remained fragmented into systems and silos. That is actually the main problem statement that drove us into coming up with Kilimotech. Now, our objective is to unify all this data into one platform. And after unifying this data, we want to empower our farmers to be able to get actionable advisories from our system so that they can actually just implement that into their applications, or rather into their farms. We also want to support the agronomists and also enable executives to get clear metrics of what is going on in all these parcels and how the metrics are showing. So straight to the capabilities that the ArcGIS allowed us to do. One is that it allowed us to have several data integration and managing all this data. It enabled us to carry out financial spatial analysis. It also enabled us to get near real-time analytics and carry out field operations and data collection. It helped us come up with a decision support dashboards. So straight into the solution architecture of our system. One is that we are able to collect data, which is coming from various sources, including satellite imagery, soil grids API, which give us information about the soils. We are able to automate analytics and alerting through data processing, modeling, and doing real-time processing. We are also able to parcel, to upload these, rather publish these layers into ArcGIS Online, where we can able to derive dashboards from this data. So the study area that I chose was Mwea Tabere. Why I chose this study area is because it has a high concentration of smallholder farmers that are working well on defined parcels. We can actually get this data from the irrigation schemes. Another reason why I chose Mwea Tabere is because they have a dependence on irrigation. They also have a readily available, or rather the area has readily available GIS parcel data which can be used to, or rather which can be easily integrated into our systems. By piloting Kilimotech into Mwea Tabere, we can also integrate this platform into the real world scenario, and we can scale seamlessly to other schemes, which is easier. Now, the benefits of the solution, the farmers will be able to gain access to a very simple dashboard where they can just get the actionable insights for their parcels. The agronomists are able to, will be able to monitor multiple farms at once and detect high-risk parcels very early as before things, rather before situations occur. The executives can be able to track the key performance indicators such as the number of farmers, the total cultivated area, and they can get a strategic view of the risks and opportunities that may arise out of that. Now, what is Kilimotech? Kilimotech is a GIS-powered agricultural platform which simply connects satellite data insights, field data, and combines them into one system where a farmer can get the parcel health and advisories for their parcels. The agronomists can be able to monitor trends and risks, and then the executives can be able to track key performance indices. So Kilimotech is more than just a tool. It is actually very data-driven, and it connects farmers, experts, and decision makers for smarter, more sustainable agriculture. That is Kilimotech for you. The input data that we are having here is that we are integrating diverse data sources. This is what enriches our system. One is that we are getting parcel boundaries, which is actually digitized plots of farms of these farmers, which can be able us to have precise monitoring. We are also getting satellite indices from open source software, or rather open source Sentinel data, where we can be able to calculate vegetation health, moisture, water stress, and things like normalized difference vegetation indexes and soil adjusted vegetation indexes. We can also get, or rather we are getting digital elevation models derivatives, which is DM, which is publicly available. We can get that, and then we derive the terrain features, the slope, the drainage of the entire area. And also we are integrating soil data from soil grids and getting the actual information about these parcels. All these data layers are combining to deliver a very complete parcel picture of the crop health and suitability of this area of interest, Moyatabere. Now, I'll do a snippet of the code that did the processing before I go into the demo for the application. Here, first, we are importing the spatial analysis tool, which is able to do the spatial analytics. We define the paths for storing this data. Then now we define or rather we also import the raster images from the satellite images, the NDVI, EVI, SAVI, which are the soil adjusted vegetation indexes. And then after that, we reproject, and then we calculate the zonal means of these of coming from these raster images into the parcel layers. And then now we get the vegetation indexes, and then now we we get the raster statistics coming from all this into the parcel layer. We derive statistics from that. And then now from those statistics, we are able to classify we are also able to classify this data into various classes, including slope class, drainage class, vegetation class, where we are classifying them as low, moderate, high, which is easier for the farmer to interpret. So from them, let me take you through the portal, our Kilimotech platform. So I will log in as a farmer. Say as a farmer, you are called Mudhoni. Let us log in. We have your parcel information. So once this farmer logs in, they're able to see this dashboard, which is giving them this dashboard is giving them their farm insights, which is very specific to their parcels. They can get the live weather of their parcels, which is actually very important. Now, the farmer is being told to scroll to their farm insights. That is what they will do. They'll come here, search for their farm. And then now, after searching for their farm, our system populates that. It actually populates that information into their farm. So we can see that this farmer Mudhoni has the total, his farm has this area, 34 hectares, and the crop suitability calculated from the indices is 61%. We can also get the crop cover, which was classified from the indices, and also they're getting that their farm is moderately rising. They're also getting the water stress of their farms and their drainage of the farms. This farmer can also check their conditions of the farms through the satellite imagery. They don't really have to be on the farm physically. They can actually zoom in and see which layer, or rather which part of their farm has certain conditions. So yeah, that is the farmer. So I'll log in as an agronomist, which is another use case for our system. Let us log in, please. Now, this is what the agronomist sees. The agronomists are able to monitor the farm parcels at a general, or rather regional perspective. They can see the total area of farms that are being, rather total area of crops that are being farmed on this area. They can see the total farmers. They can also see the farmers that are having, whose farms are at a risk of maybe water stress that is very high as per the indices, and the NDVI values, which is the normalized vegetation index, which is low. They can actually see that. They can also see how many farmers have a moderate vegetation health distribution. For in this case, we are getting 315 farmers, and we can also check if these 315 farmers, the distribution for the crop suitability is moderate, low, or good. We can see from this graph here. We can also check the ones for healthy. Once you click healthy, it actually populates the suitability distribution and maps you exactly which farms are having healthy crop distribution. So that is basically what the agronomist can see. I'll go straight into what the executive can see. Sorry. So here is the executive dashboard. Our executive, they get the overview of all the operations that is happening on these farms. Now, these ones are majorly people who are managing this irrigation scheme, say the Mwea Tabere. One is that they're getting the total farmers, they're getting the average crop suitability of most of the farms, or actually all the farms in this area. They can also get a list of the farmers that are having whose farms have a very high projected high projected yields based on the suitability and the healthy vegetations. We can see the list of those farmers. They can also see the vegetation health distribution, just as the agronomist sees, and the average indices of all the parcels. They can check the total conditions, if the parcels are good, they are poor or bad, and also if any of the executive wants to maybe perform their agronomist analysis, they can actually access the agronomist dashboard from here. They do the same analysis that the agronomist does. So that is basically what our system does, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. I think I want to conclude first before I make acknowledgements. Now, Kilimotech, it is representing a practical step towards improving agriculture through technology. And in this case, we are combining several data. We are combining GIS data, we are combining satellite imagery, real-time weather, and we are also combining farmer-driven inputs. There's a form that a farmer updates on the ground on the conditions of the farms, which actually helps us to do ground truthing of the insights that we're getting from the satellite imagery. So the farmers, they actually get simplified, timely advice from the application. Agronomists, they also get they can also be able to monitor very large parcels as per our system, and actually our system is very scalable. it can scale out towards different irrigation schemes. And the pilot just confirmed that this is actually very possible. So thank you. Let me acknowledge, acknowledge most of, actually acknowledge my supervisors, Ms. Mkara, Ms. Sarah, as well as Mr. Sydney and Mr. Dennis for helping me, or rather giving me the invaluable insights in doing this project. I'm very grateful to SC Eastern Africa for the opportunity for the internship. Any questions, you can forward them into the chat. We'll answer them later on. Let me invite my colleague, Michelle. Thank you.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, from wherever you're listening from. My name is Michelle Mtuli, and I hope you are doing well. For the past 3 months, I have been interning as a solutions engineer at Esri Eastern Africa, and I am currently awaiting to graduate from the Technical University of Kenya with a bachelor's degree in business information technology. Yeah, so now that's not exactly GIS, but I have always had a strong interest in geospatial technology and how I can be able to apply it to solve everyday problems. This internship has given me the space to explore this passion, and it has been exciting to see how technology that I wasn't familiar with or trained in can still connect with my skills and interest, and more importantly, make a real difference in decision making. So my project is called ACGIS for Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Programs, WASH. In simple terms, it uses GIS to map out things like communal toilets, sewer lines, and manholes. So in this project, decision-making is data-driven, ensuring that insights are guided by accurate analysis rather than assumptions. By doing this, we are able to see which areas have few sanitation facilities and also identify where manholes are at risk of choking, which can cause serious problems in the sewer network. The idea is to give a clear picture that helps different groups make better decisions. For example, the Nairobi City Council and the Nairobi Water can use it to plan infrastructure upgrades and manage the sewer system more safely. At the same time, this project supports national efforts under the Kenya Informal Settlements Improved Project, KISIP, which is backed up by the government of Kenya and the World Bank. And this project is not even just about the government. We also have NGOs like SHOFCO and local community groups that are also key partners, that are also key stakeholders for this project. So by bringing all these stakeholders together around one shared map, the project makes it easier to coordinate, take action, and improve living conditions in informal settlements. So my study area is Sarangombe Ward in Kibera. I chose this as the pilot area for this project. The reason is basically near simple. Sarangombe faces some of the toughest sanitation and health challenges are being an informal settlement area in Kibera. The population here is very dense. There are limited toilet facilities and the sewer system is often blocked. And on top of that, when manholes choke, it is very difficult for maintenance vehicles to even access the area because of the narrow roads and the congestion. So all of these issues put residents at a higher health risk and make everyday living conditions more difficult. That is why Sarangombe is such a critical place to test this kind of GIS-based sanitation mapping and risk analysis. If the solution can work here in one of the most challenging environments, then it can be adapted and scaled to other informal settlements across Nairobi and beyond. This is about creating sustainable wash solutions where they are needed the most. Problem statement in Sarangombe, the sanitation system struggles in three fronts. Toilets are too few and often unsafe and non-functional, forcing people to turn to unsafe methods of waste disposal, like flying toilets. The sewer system is also poorly mapped and frequently blocked, leading to overflows and outbreak of diseases like cholera. Finally, there is no reliable spatial data to guide planning, meaning city authorities, NGOs, and community groups are often working blind. Although this leaves residents facing daily health risk from an inadequate and unsafe sanitation system. These challenges clearly show, that the problem isn't just about the toilet or the sewer lines, it's about information. So without clear, reliable data, it's almost impossible to plan properly or respond quickly, or for maintenance team to respond quickly. And that's exactly where GIS comes in. So by mapping the facilities, the population density, and even the choke points in the sewer system, we can turn scattered issues into a clear picture. This gives city authorities, NGOs, and also community groups like Map Kibera the insight they need to make smarter decisions, target the resources better, and ultimately improve sanitation for residents. For our objectives, first, we have four main objectives. First, it's compiling and integrating data on communal toilets, sewer lines, and manholes so that everything is captured in one place. Second, we are going to be applying spatial analysis to map out manhole choke point risk so we know exactly where blockages are most likely to happen. Third, we are using population density data to show where the demand for sanitation facility is highest, which helps to prioritize where new facilities should go. And finally, we are designing interactive ArcGIS dashboards that will allow real-time monitoring of facility conditions, things like their status, and also the maintenance activities. So together, these four objectives aim to give all stakeholders, from county governments to NGOs to local community groups, the tools that they need to plan better and respond faster to sanitation challenges. The ArcGIS capability that I leveraged was spatial analysis. So why I chose spatial analysis is because with ArcGIS spatial analysis, I was able to identify manholes at risk of choking and compare population density with the toilet coverage available to highlight undeserved areas. Hotspot and buffer analysis also showed stress zones and how far residents must travel for facilities. This helped us not to see this is helping us rather not just to see where infrastructure exists, but how well it actually serves people. For my solution architecture, ArcGIS enabled solution for water sanitation, WASH programs portal. This diagram of my solution architecture represents the solution architecture of my project, essentially, how everything fits together from the moment of collecting data in the field all the way to decision making by stakeholders. We begin with inputs. Field workers use ArcGIS Survey 123 to collect ground level information like the location, condition of toilets, sewer lines, and manholes. So once they collect this data, the data comes in and it does not directly go to the stakeholders. It first has to be prepared, cleaned, and analyzed in ArcGIS Pro by the GIS analyst here to make sure it's accurate and usable. Next, we'll move to the processes. Here, ArcGIS Pro and ArcGIS notebooks are used to run deeper analysis. Some of the steps that were used, we used Python scripts to automate them, which makes workflow faster, repeatable, and also less prone to man or human error. This stage is where we identify pattern, risk, and service gaps that will otherwise remain hidden. After that, the information is stored here in ArcGIS Online. This is crucial because it turns static data into a dynamic, accessible resource. It allows layers to be updated regularly, shared securely, managed in one central place that different teams can access. And finally, we get the outputs. These are designed not just for technical experts, but for a wide range of stakeholders. Story maps are used to, they are used to tell the project story, communicate findings, and provide visual context, while dashboards here, they give real-time monitoring of facility conditions, choke alerts, and key indicators. The outputs will serve different stakeholders. For example, project managers who need to plan upgrades, Nairobi Water, KISIP, who handle infrastructure, NGOs like SHOFCO that work on sanitation, NGOs like SHOFCO that usually work on sanitation, community-based organizations like MapKibera that also support advocacy, and even local residents who are directly affected by the problem. The idea behind this architecture is to make sure that everyone from the government to the NGOs are working on the same information. That way, the different stakeholders can be able to coordinate and respond faster and put in place effective strategies to reduce sanitation risk. So we have the benefits of the solution. You may ask, what are the benefits of this solution? These solutions offer several benefits to all stakeholders. First, it supports evidence-based planning, where stakeholders like Nairobi City County, Nairobi Water, and other agencies can be able to make smarter infrastructure investments because decisions are backed by reliable data. Second, the dashboards enable real-time maintenance monitoring, which improves accountability and ensures issues like choke points are addressed. Third, it involves everyone, like from government to NGOs to community groups by providing clear visual insights that are easy to understand and work on. Lastly, it promotes equitable access to sanitation facilities, ensuring resources go to areas that they are needed the most. In short, this solution creates a shared platform that encourages better planning, faster responses, and fairer service delivery for the people of Sarangombe. Now that we have looked at the benefits of this solution brings to different stakeholders, I will take you through the demos. This way you can see how all the analysis I have discussed translates into practical and let's say easy to use visuals for decision making. So we have the survey form. This survey form was designed in ArcGIS Survey 123, and it's used for data collection. So for example, a field worker, let's say from Nairobi Water, called Mr. Mbogwa, can use this form to collect data. Once the Mr. Mbogwa is on the field, he will be using the GPS on his form to be able to show the location of the facility. So he can click on where he is right now, and then it will show the latitude, the coordinates of where he is, and then they can be able to choose the facility type. Is it a manhole? Is it a communal toilet? Is it sewer lines? Is it a manhole? So if he chooses manhole, he will be able to input the manhole ID, the material type of the manhole. Is it concrete, brick, PVC, others, the depth in meters, the diameter in millimeters, the cover type, the condition of the manhole, when was this manhole installed, and any additional notes. And if possible, they can also drop an image here or take a picture and drop it here to show probably the conditions of the manhole. Yeah. So once they submit this form, we then will use ArcGIS Pro. So here we will use, this is just a snippet of the Python ArcGIS notebook Python code that I used. So with Python, we are able to connect directly to ArcGIS tools and automate analysis steps. For example, this script handled population density overlays, manhole choke point risk analysis, and comparisons between toilet coverage and demand. So instead of running each tool one by one in ArcGIS, this script is making it easy so that the whole process is fast, consistent, and also repeatable. And then we have our first dashboard. This dashboard gives us a public sanitation snapshot for Sarangombe Ward, toilet, sewer lines, and manholes. So this dashboard gives us a quick snapshot of sanitation facilities in Sarangombe, showing the number and condition of toilets, sewer lines, and manholes. So it makes it easy to see who's working, what's working well, what facility is working well, where the problems are, like blockages, non-functional facilities also, where do they exist? And so, for example, you can see this is the map. So you can see that this is the map. Once you have enlarged it, you can see that the legend, the legend here, you can see that the green manholes represent that the manholes are good, the blue represent poor manholes, and the red represent that the manholes are blocked. You can also see these two little people stand for represent the toilets, Sarangombe communal toilets, and also for the sewer lines, you can see where operational sewer lines are mapped and where non-operational sewers are also located or mapped. And then we have the population density polygons, with blue representing high population density. So this region in Sarangombe represents high population density, while the green regions will represent the low population density in Sarangombe. So the total number of public toilets in Sarangombe ward are 19. The 15 out of the 19 are operational, while 4 are non-operational. The total number of sewer lines that have been mapped are 185, with 173 being operational and 12 being non-operational. Total number of sewer lines are 16, and you can see 6 are good, 6 are poor, and 4 are blocked. The second dashboard is now the manhole choke point risk analysis dashboard. This dashboard is mainly designed for the maintenance teams provided probably by the Nairobi City Council. It allows them to monitor manhole conditions in near real time. So they can quickly see the total of number of manholes, their conditions, their cover types, are they blocked, what is the material type. It also highlights where choke risk exists. So whether from frequent packed blockages, from the natural flow of elevation or terrain, also from the high population, and also the depth of the, and also a manhole that is at risk of choking due to its depth. So with this information, maintenance crew can prioritize where manholes need urgent attention, plan interventions more effectively, and also reduce the chances of sudden manhole failures. So if you can click here on one manhole, it will directly, the map will pan in to where the manhole is located. You can see the condition is good, the cover type is solid, the manhole material type is concrete. Here you can be able to identify if this manhole is at a risk of choking due to past choke count or even depth. Now with the maintenance team can see this manhole is at a risk of choking due to its depth, and what mitigation strategies can they do in order to prevent this manhole from choking in future. You can also check if the manhole is at risk due to choke due to elevation, and also manhole choke risk due to population density. And you can see also this manhole is at risk of choking due to the number of people here that this manhole serves exceeds the capacity of this manhole to probably hold the waste and that is being that is passing through here. So maybe they can include other manholes there to serve the high population that is around the specific manhole. So next is the dashboard showing priority areas for toilet provision. This dashboard focuses on identifying, let's say, priority areas for toilet provision in Sarangombe. So it shows the number of communal toilets, compares their total capacity served by these toilets, but by the total population in Sarangombe, and it highlights high demand zones where more facilities are urgently needed. So this need priority polygon, this red part is where you can see that the population here is high, but there are no number of toilets or less number of toilets to serve the number of people that are in these regions. So they can see once you can select our toilet to probably see its stats, and you can see that a pop-up will appear showing the toilet, if it's operational, its coordinates, the capacity it serves, is it a pit latrine or a flush toilet? Is there soap? How frequently is it cleaned? And who maintains this toilet? From also the dashboards, we have a chart here showing the total population versus total capacity served, which from the graph you can see the difference is huge. So total population is 28,200 people here. And in a day, toilets are only serving only 1,500 people. Toilets only have the capacity to serve this number of people. You can see that the flush toilets only serve 1,000 people in a day, and pit latrines serve 450 people daily. So for cleaning frequency, we have this gauge here that shows that out of the 19 toilets in Sarangombe, only 3 are meeting the required standard of cleaning daily, and also that soap is available there. So this can help even NGOs and community leaders to be able to bridge this gap and avoid public health risk. So high toilet demand zones are 3, as I have shown. These are the regions where the toilets are less and the number of people here are very high. That was my demos. So in conclusion, as I conclude rather, this solution can actually even grow further by integrating real-time monitoring with Internet of Things sensors in manholes, and linking these internets with mobile apps for community feedback, and expanding across even more wards and counties. But even beyond the technical side, its real power is in its impact by offering a transparent, data-driven, and cost-effective way to plan sanitation infrastructure. So it directly supports Kenya's vision to improving public health and creating healthier, safer cities. At the same time, it also contributes to global goals like the United Nations SDG goal number 6, which calls for clean water and sanitation for all. So this project aligns with the efforts of NGOs working daily in informal settlements to make sanitation equitable and accessible. So this is more than just a GIS project. It's a practical step towards safer communities, healthier families, and a future where no one is left behind. Acknowledgements. I'd like to sincerely thank the ESRI Eastern African team for allowing me to work on this project. The mentorship and support from Mr. Sydney Nyongesa, Ms. Latma, Mr. Dennis, Ms. Tina, Ms. Elizabeth Nyawera, and the entire team have been invaluable in shaping both the solution and also my growth as a young professional student. I would also like to express my gratitude to my fellow interns for their continuous support and encouragement throughout the making of this project. I am also grateful to myself for the dedication and effort I put into making this project a success. And finally, a big thank you to all of you here today for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Thank you. I now welcome my fellow intern, Agape Mhango, to take us through her project. Thank you and have a lovely day.
Hello. Hi, Agape. Please unmute yourself. We can't hear you. Ah, good. We can hear you now.
Sorry.
Agape. Hello. Yeah, you may have to
Hello.
start again.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't hear you.
I'm really sorry for that.
It's okay. Karibu sana.
Sante. Okay. Thank you, Michelle, for the presentation. And I'm hereby to present my project, which I've undertaken during this period of 3 months here as internship at Esri at Tanzania. And starting with the introduction, my name is Agape Pon Mwango, and I've recently completed my Bachelor of Science in Geomatics at Ardhi University here at Tanzania, and gained practical experience. And also, I've been able to be among the interns for the period of 3 months here at Esri. And during my studies and internship that I've undertaken, I have developed strong skills using geospatial tools to analyze data, solving the real-world challenges, and support decision making. And I am passionate about applying these skills to create impactful solutions and contribute to projects that make a difference. With that passion, I worked on project titled Digital Transformation of Telecommunication through GIS, and hereby I'll take you through the introduction. This project focuses on vital of telecommunication. This project focuses on vital telecommunication play in connecting people, driving digital growth, and supporting socioeconomic development in Tanzania. And the regulatory body which is responsible for this task is TCRA, which is responsible for regulating and ensuring that communication services are reliable and accessible nationwide. By using a GIS, we can provide powerful geospatial tools which could help TCRA visualize the communication infrastructure and integrate field data and make more informed decisions. Thus, improve the provision of the communication services in our country. And with the study area, I chose Dar es Salaam as the pilot area for this project, since the goal of this project was to explore how geospatial tools can improve telecommunication management, and it was important to choose a location that clearly reflects both opportunities and challenges in this sector. And that's why I came to select Dar es Salaam as the pilot study area, whereby Dar es Salaam is the largest city in our country, Tanzania, with large and diverse population and high demand for telecommunication services. It has mixture of urban, peri-urban, and informal settlement, and thus provide a complex environment to assess network coverage, service reliability, and effectiveness of GIS-based monitoring solutions. And taking you through the ground whereby I decided to undertake this project. This is the problem statement of this project. Whereas, despite the rapid growth of telecommunication in Dar es Salaam and across Tanzania, there are several challenges which still limit the effective regulation and service delivery of the communication services, as there are often limited visibility of existing communication infrastructure. The existing infrastructure is not mapped, and making it difficult to plan and manage resources efficiently. And also, there is a problem of service quality remaining uneven, whereas
other areas remain underserved, especially in peri-urban and some places where there are informal settlements. Thus, they just remain underserved. And additionally, the reporting is reporting of the services provided is fragmented. The data collection and reporting processes are not in a proper way, which limits real-time monitoring and informed decision making. These challenges thus highlight the need of more integrated geospatial approach, and this is where ArcGIS can play a critical role in improving how telecommunication networks are monitored, analyzed, and managed. To address these challenges, I came up with objectives. I had one main objective with 3 specific objectives, whereas to address these challenges, this project had to focus on how ArcGIS can be used as a solution to improve the way telecommunication services are monitored and managed. And main objective was the main goal of this project was to improve the TCRA oversight and enhance service delivery in Tanzania's telecommunication sector by using ArcGIS. The specific objective the first one was to build an ArcGIS platform that helps monitor and manage telecom infrastructure as the information status of the existing infrastructure could be monitored and managed well. And the second objective was to identify the coverage gaps and underserved areas that could need the attention by the TCRAs and the TCRAs, which is the regulatory body for telecommunications in our country, but also could help these internet service providers to see the gaps and the areas which are facing problems of communication. Thus, it could be easier for them to resolve them. And the third objective was to enhance transparency and support. And this could be helped through the use of interactive dashboards, whereby it could be easy and there could be improvement in transparency and thus support better decision making by the stakeholders. And going through my solution architecture for this project, to achieve these objectives, as I've explained above, the project proposed the solution architecture, which uses ArcGIS as the central platform to connect tasks of TCRA, which are to manage the communication services and regulate the services in our country. Thus, the platform could connect the task users and decision-making processes in seamless and geospatially-driven workflow. And at the core, the ArcGIS cloud environment, which unifies various data sources, tools, and applications, which could enable smooth interaction between different users and components. And hereby, we have a program analyst. Through the use of focused maps and apps, they could be easy for the program analyst to manage communication infrastructure inventory, ensuring that TCRA mandatory tasks are monitored well and efficiently, thus good provision of the services. Also, service quality teams could use the focused map, they could use the survey 123 and field map for conducting inspections and see the performance and the compliance of the provision of the services, thus providing the feedbacks feedbacks which could help in the system to allow real-time tracking of the network performance and coverage gaps and the compliance by the operators which are in question to provide the communication services. Also, with general public or in general the consumers, they could be able to contribute feedback through Survey 123 forms, helping TCRA understand the experiences and service satisfactions by the users and the issues that emerge as the customers use these communication services. Inspection and audit teams could collect the field data using field maps, while with the dashboard could help the real-time instant insights, which could give information on the compliance, infrastructure performance, and operational gaps, thus improving the communication services. And at last, the directors or the stakeholders, which are the main decision makers, could access a comprehensive service quality and communication dashboard, which integrates all spatial and survey data from the audit team and from the service quality teams, providing actionable intelligence for policy, planning, and regulatory decisions. And the essence of this solution architecture is that it connects all the stakeholders, streamlines communication, and ensures continuous flow of data from field operation to the strategic decision making. Okay, the ArcGIS capabilities behind this solution, as naturally we could ask, what does this system enable us to do? And here is where we get here is the rise of the ArcGIS capabilities, which marks the capabilities behind the solution. And in my project, I had 4 capabilities of ArcGIS, which were the field data collection, whereby the data were collected using Survey 123 for checking the service equality. And this could be filled by the consumers or customers, which could then help the TCRAs see the compliance of the reports they get from the operators, which are the internet service providers. Example, in our country, the service providers include Tigo, Orias, Airtel, TTCL, and the other. And also, the other capability is data management. And with ArcGIS platform, it consolidates all feed collected and the existing data and ensure the data are cleaned, standardized, and accessible for carrying out different analysis to make differences and improve the services provided to the customers. The other capability was to mapping and visualization, whereby through ArcGIS, instant maps and dashboards were used to visualize the infrastructure status, coverage gaps, and service performance, which could then help TCRAs see the status of the services that are provided to the customers, and also to visualize the gaps of the areas which remain underserved, so that they could resolve the issues emerging. And the last one was public engagement. With public engagement through ArcGIS, it could be easy to get insights, service updates, and feedback directly from the customers as they give their feedbacks on how the services are provided. and how reliable and consistent they are, but also the feedback channels provided, which could then help to improve the provision of the services to the customers. And now I'll take you through the demos, and I would like to take you through this solution, how it works in practice. And hereby we'll start with the internet service survey 123, and this survey 123 it was supposed to be filled by the customers so that they can give the feedbacks and reports on the services that they obtained. And then by these customers filling up this form, it could help for the TCRAs to oversee how compliant the internet service providers are. Like, do the reports from the internet service providers and the customers match, so that if there is any problem there, then it could be resolved. So suppose a customer could fill this form by providing their location details, like filling just the location address of the place that customer is available. After filling that, they then could fill the what type of location is that, like is it a business or resident. Thereafter, let me fill it. In Ondoni, for example, and type of location maybe business, and the other field be filled could be the type of, if the customer uses Wi-Fi network over that location, maybe yes. What type of internet connection? And here there are variety. The customer could fill the type of internet connection that he or she uses. Then what's the current service provider? And as I've mentioned before, the Airtel, Vodacom, and customer could use the type of the current internet service provider at an area, maybe Vodacom. And hereby there's a link whereby a customer could go direct to this link and get the download speed that is his or her device is obtaining as the service is provided. Suppose I'll just fill 10. And same as upload speed, maybe 20. Going to other questions like use and feedback. And here the customer could feel how do the use of broadband could feel if he or she uses the broadband for business purposes. And the other one, like what do you mainly use it for? So also here the customer could choose the appropriate answer for him or her, followed with the experience of outages that affect the business operation, maybe occasionally or rarely or never. The liability of the current internet service, maybe. And the other one is the internet demand. So the customer could also be able to feel like in what way does he or she pay the internet service, maybe prepaid bundles, postpaid, and the other ones. And the other one, the other field is how reliable is your internet connection. So, and also how many households or how many people in household use this internet service connection, maybe 10, and estimate of the monthly costs. And lastly, it could just give any feedback on anything extra that he or she wants to contribute about this survey. Thereby submitting the form, and as the customer submits this form, this survey, which acts as the digital tool for collecting real-time feedback to assess the internet service quality, the information gathered it is directly fed into ArcGIS dashboard, which then allow the internet service providers to monitor and improve their service performance, and also could help the TCRA, which is the regulatory authority, to ensure the compliance with the service standards. So I'll take you direct to the dashboard that data are fed after the customer fills the survey 123 form. And hereby is our ArcGIS dashboard for internet service quality. And with this dashboard, we are able to see different fields that were filled by the customer to assess the service quality. As we can see here, there's a map, interactive map, showing the locations of the customers who attempted to fill the survey 123 form, showing the type of connection. As we can see here, the type of connection included fixed broadband, mobile, and the other one used both. And also for the main concerns with the service they obtained, here the data of the main concerns that are faced by the customers are seen, and you can see so in case of main concerns, they included the costs, the internet service provided in the area, like the other customers face problem of no internet service provision on their areas, poor customer services, and the other. Also, the total survey that are supplied as displayed here, so it makes easy for the TCRAs to see if the services that are being provided by the internet providers, which are internet service providers which are in question to provide these services, if they reach those standards, and thus improve the service provision. For example, also you could see the monthly cost ranges, and as you can see, for example, if you see for those who use from 10,000 to 50,000, Tanzanian shillings. They can be seen here, and as it is as our dashboard is interactive, you can see as I've clicked on this group, which their monthly cost ranges at this range, then you could see their number, the total survey that they have responded on this. Thus, by providing all this information, then TCRI could then see the compliance of the services and see if there are other areas need improvement. And also the other thing that has been used there on my solution was the field map. Sorry.
Hi, Agape.
Hello.
We can't hear you. Are you speaking?
No, I'm connecting the field map, which is on my phone.
Okay.
Sorry, a moment. I'm sorry, I'm trying to connect the field map on my phone with this one. Okay, okay. Hello? I'm sorry, I've got a problem with connecting my phone with the screen, sharing my screen. But with field map, okay, I'll just continue. With field map, as I've said, it's a mobile application that allows the officers to collect data about the communication assets derived from the field. And I'm so sorry that I was not able to connect with this with my phone. I don't know why. Okay. Trying to do that. So, field map, as I've said, is a mobile application from actually which could help the officers to collect data about communication assets that are available direct from the field. They can record the location and the details of the different infrastructure present on the field, such the example of such infrastructure include the towers, hubs, cables, and the other infrastructure, and update the information in real time and maintain it accurately and update up-to-date inventory. So, for example, an officer visiting the field could be able to collect data. For example, there are different fields that have been configured with my schema here. So I'll just filter which type of infrastructure I want to collect. For example, I'll go with network interface unit. So the field officer that has to collect the data about such infrastructure could be able to take the information about specific infrastructures. On my case, I've just used the network interface unit and just going through with filling the ID. Maybe I'll just use interface 1, I1, IU1 as the asset ID and life cycle status. There are several options. So you could choose the one which is viable for the infrastructure that is collecting data about. I'll go with the in service network equipment. Also here I could just fill the network equipment that is there and equipment type, the equipment manufacturer, if known. You will have to fill the field. Who is the owner of such infrastructure? As I've said, there are different internet service providers, so you could fill the one who is responsible for that equipment and the one who owns that infrastructure. The installment date could be filled. The retire date, in service date, special confidence, and other. After there, you could just submit, and the data are direct fed to my dashboard, communication infrastructure dashboard. So this was about the field map, which could help in collecting the infrastructure data from the field. So thereafter, the data are fed directly to the dashboard, which is the communication dashboard. As we can see here, there are different. As you can see here, there are different fields that have been configured in my schema, and as the officer fills the data, they are being fed direct here. And for my case, there was total 4 miles for cable, and the conduit covered the 0.3 miles. Also, the type of cable that was used on these areas, the service areas, was 99.7 fiber, and type of the cable that was installed was 10.3% aerial and 89.7% for underground cable type. And the network tire included the distribution tire, the drop tire, and the general ones. And with the point of preference, there were total use of general use of hub terminators, and the total interface unit was 125. And for network interface unit, these are the customers that use such services on this service area, this one which is in service. And group of the infrastructure, there were several structures, but I had the cell tower and total of 85 poles, but also there were serviceable locations. And in case of this, we had the residential, business, and enterprise with the non-profit serviceable areas. And the services that they received were the internet of 9, which had total of 9 customers, TV, which had 8, and voice over internet protocol, total of 5, and security, which was this one. So our dashboard is interactive, as you can see. As you zoom out and zoom in, you could see you zoom out and zoom in for the area of interest, you could see the data that have been fed by the officers directly from the field using the field map. And the service area, there are a total of 4 service areas, which included the planning, the area which are still on stage of planning, and the other one were in the stage of construction. The other ones were already constructed, just ready for providing the services to the customers, as it can be seen here. Back to my presentation, the solution had several benefits, which it could help the TCRAs on different aspects, like the solution help in monitoring telecom infrastructure, as TCRA, which is the regulatory body for telecommunication, could be able to have real-time access to the location, status, and performance of the internet services that are being provided to the customers, and see the compliance with the set standards, enabling to have a continuous oversight and quick identification of issues on different service areas. Also, the other benefit of the solution is identifying the coverage gaps and the areas which are still getting the poor services. And this is through visualizing the network coverage on maps. The system highlights the regions with poor and no service. As we were zooming here, you could have seen SARS help TCRA, which are the regulators, to see on areas to be targeted by the providers for improving the service quality and expand connectivity. The other benefit of the solution is to support the data-driven decisions and the real-time monitoring, whereas this platform collects and display up-to-date data from the surveys and field mapping, thus allowing the stakeholders to engage and make informed decisions based on the accurate and current data as they are being collected direct from the field and as they are being filled by the customers giving their feedback on the services that are being provided. And the other benefit is that the system improve transparency through the use of interactive dashboard and visualization, thus allowing the stakeholders, including the public, which are the customers, the internet service providers, and the regulators, to understand network performance and plan for different interventions. And the last one is that the system identify the gaps and thus help monitoring the assets performance. The system prioritizes the investment plan expansion and allocate resources effectively in order to strengthen the telecom network in service areas. With conclusion, I would like to conclude that the ArcGIS-based platform enhance the performance of TCRI, which is regulatory authority to oversight and regulate the service delivery by enabling them with mapping, visualization, and the real-time data collection through the use of Survey 123, field maps, and the interactive dashboards, and thus help to identify the coverage gaps and give support, which is data-driven planning, and show how geospatial technology can drive digital transformation in Tanzania telecom sector. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge and sincerely, I want to thank my mentors, Jovin Jau and Dennis Kiogora, my fellow colleagues and peers for their invaluable guidance and support. And I would like to extend my gratitude to Esri for provision of ArcGIS tools and resources that have helped me much in coming up with this solution. And I also acknowledge my own dedication and efforts in completing this work. I would like to welcome if there is any questions, which I'll come back later to answer them. And this marks the end of my presentation. I would like to welcome the other presenter, Shane from Uganda. You're welcome. And thank you so much for your attention.
Hello. Hello, good afternoon. My name is Shane Amutere, and I'm very glad to be part of this presentation. And my topic is smart communities and smart cities with ArcGIS, with a case study of Kampala, Uganda. So Shine is a student awaiting graduation at Makerere University in a bachelor's degree of urban and regional planning, and quite passionate about GIS, hence my being in this presentation. And I take this opportunity to appreciate Esri Eastern Africa and the whole Esri team for giving me an opportunity to be part of this. So as I earlier mentioned, my topic is smart communities and smart cities with ArcGIS. We have a technical issue. Yes, thank you. So the background of my project is, this project is a strategic initiative to address challenges from the rapid urbanization that's happening in Kampala by leveraging Esri ArcGIS technology to integrate geospatial data on schools and hospitals. So as I'm talking about smart cities and smart communities, I'm mainly focusing on schools and hospitals as of today. The aim of this project is to empower decision makers with tools for improved planning, service delivery, transparency, and supporting Kampala's vision of a smart, efficient, and sustainable city. So what's the problem statement that made me to tackle this? The Kampala faces significant urban planning and service delivery challenges, and this hinders effective decision making. So this results in uncoordinated development and slowed processes, slowed progress. So by incorporating geospatial insights on schools and hospitals, it can strengthen planning, improve access to sustainable growth of the city's population. So that's the problem statement. And the project objectives are to integrate geospatial data on schools and hospitals, support planning, and to enable data-driven decision-making and improve public access to information, since one of the challenges that are being faced is easy access to this information. The other is for Kampala to be a smart city, there shouldn't be gaps in data and access to information. So this project is to identify gaps in education and healthcare services and also their coverage. The Esri tools implemented, we are using ArcGIS Online, which is really evident, and it being the basic, with an integration of ArcGIS Pro that has been used to generate maps and to visualize the data that I have. And the ArcGIS web maps. ArcGIS web maps, I used ArcGIS web maps in to sum up and generate ArcGIS dashboards, which are the final product of this project. And so I have the benefits of this project are to have smarter urban planning, for transparent governance, so that the government and also the KCCA and other stakeholders in Kampala can be transparent in their way of governing the schools and hospitals to the public, and also empowered citizens, that the citizens in Kampala know exactly the state and condition of the schools and hospitals in Kampala, and also be knowing what's the closest facility I can use as a citizen. Not forgetting sustainable development, since we are planning not only for today, but also planning for the future Kampala, and would want a smart Kampala. So those are the expected benefits from this project. The outputs of this project are going to be a school analysis dashboard and also a hospital analysis dashboard. But first, we're going to talk about the solution architecture. I'm having the data sources, which are KCC directorates, and also external partners such as the Ministry of Education, and also UBOS, which is the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, where I collected most of the information that I am using. Then from the data sources, I go to the platforms and services that I have used to generate these dashboards. So the leveraged ArcGIS products are ArcGIS Pro, ArcGIS Web Maps, and also dashboards. And this has enabled me to generate and to have my products of a hospital analysis dashboard and a school analysis dashboard. This is an example this is a map showing education institutions in Kampala, and I used this map to generate a dashboard. But first of all, what are some of the education institutions that have been mapped in Kampala and that are being visualized in this map? We have our legend, and it's going to keep changing as different things are displaying. We are having the boundary of Kampala, or the map of Kampala, in red. Then we're having division boundaries in purple. Those are Central Division, Kawempe Division, Nakawa Division, Makindye, and Central Division. And from that, we are having universities, which are these. Then when we get to zoom in, we are seeing secondary schools that are in purple, and also tertiary institutions, which are in red. We not only have those, we also have primary schools and nursery schools, which are mapped in orange. So this is the visualization that I did using the web maps to generate a map showing education institutions in Kampala. So it's from this map that I got to generate this dashboard for analysis. It's a school analysis dashboard. Just loading. Yes, it's taking a while. Yes. So this is my school analysis dashboard, and it's meant to serve different purposes. Yes, my school analysis dashboard, it's taking long to load, but it's meant to serve different purposes, and some of these things are, I've used it to map the distribution of schools by type. Yes, let's go back here. Sorry about that. Let me go back here. Yes, still loading. Yes, so I've used this dashboard to map out the distribution of schools by type, such as secondary schools, tertiary institutions, primary schools and also non-formal institutions that are located in Kampala. And with this, I've not only classified the schools according to their types, but I've also classified them according to who owns the schools. And from this analysis, I've got to realize that 133 are government-owned schools, then privately owned schools are 834, and also communally owned schools are 68. Not forgetting there are some whose owners are not known, which are just 8. And from this dashboard, let's say I stay in Boise, and I would like to know where Boise center is. And I have a pop-up here that gives me the fields that I need to know. That's, for example, the school name, which is Boise Learning Center, the school type, which is non-formal, and also the school ownership, which is government. Then from the analysis, one would want to know, are all these schools that we are mentioning, are all of them active? It's from this that I generated a status of schools pie chart that shows us the number of schools that are open and in use, but not accessible. Then we are also having schools that are closed and no longer operational, and these are only 4 schools with a percent of 0.38%. Then also we are having the schools that are open and in use, because we initially talked about the total number of schools, and right now from this dashboard and from this analysis, we get to identify that 99% of these schools are open and in use from this dashboard. And also, I also did an analysis about the school ownership, which comes in this format of government, which are 12%, privately owned schools, which are 79%, communally owned schools, and other institutions. So from this, from the analysis, you get to ask yourself, why are there more privately owned schools than government schools in Kampala? And from this, I got to realize that there are more private individuals that are interested in the education sector. And since the education sector in Uganda is not only a government-owned sector, even the private non-governmental organizations take part. So that's why we're having more private institutions. And also from the look and the analysis, most people in Kampala and largely Uganda, they all prefer to take their students to the private institutions because of the more facilities that are found in these institutions than the government institutions. Then I have a graph here that is showing the difference in the number of teachers, number of classrooms, and number of students that are in these institutions or schools in Uganda. And for starters, we are having the number of classrooms, which is at a 4.8%. Then we're having the number of teachers, which are at an 8.5%. Then when we come to the number of students, it's way higher than the number of teachers and the number of classrooms. And from research, we get to realize that we need more teachers into these institutions so that all the students are catered for and all their needs are met. And from this dashboard, that's what we can do. Then we have a legend that defines what one has selected. Let's say I come to my schools and I search for Mutungo COP Center. So it will take me straight to COP Center. A pop-up will come in, and me, the neighborhood of Mutungo, I'll know which school, which is non-formal, that I can use that in case I would like to gain a skill into a certain thing. Then for proper and more visualization, we can change the base maps to an imagery hybrid, and we can easily locate where I stay, because when I come up, I can even turn on my location and it takes me straight to where I am right now, which is in Ntinda. Yes, which is in. So when I want to see surrounding me. What is the nearest school I can take my child if I want them close by where I'm working? So that's one of the dashboards I've used, I've created. Then also after I talked about hospitals and also schools. So the other one, I've worked with the health institutions in Kampala. And this is a map showing the different health institutions in Kampala. So as we can see, if we zoom in and out, we get to realize that there are quite a number of health institutions in Kampala. So from this web map that I created a hospital analysis dashboard. Yes, it's from this that I got to create this hospital analysis dashboard. Yes, and this is it, and these are its components. From this dashboard, I'm analyzing how many hospitals are in Uganda. To look at divisions in Kampala, how many divisions are they? We are having 5 divisions, and how are those hospitals distributed in these divisions? So I'm having panels here that are showing the total number of hospitals in Kampala, showing 223, then Central Division. But when we also get into a division, we already know that this distribution is a bit even. So the hospitals in Kampala are evenly distributed. But then we also need to know how many of these hospitals in these divisions are government or privately owned or non-government organization owned. So from this, we get to realize that we are having 4 government hospitals in Central Division. We are having 41 privately owned hospitals, not forgetting only 4 NGO hospitals. So this brings in questions from the analysis. Why more privately owned hospitals? And when we look at it, and from the research I've made, there also it still cuts across to the schools. People in Kampala, the natives or the citizens, all would prefer to use the privately owned hospitals because they own and can leverage more facilities than these other government institutions. Then when we change our imagery to the hybrid, we can realize most of these hospitals are all easily accessed. I'm looking at hospitals in Central Division of Kampala. You can realize that all these hospitals are easily accessed with boards, and they're evenly distributed. I have a panel where if I want to change and see how many hospitals are located in Rubaga Division, it zooms me right there and I can get to see the number of hospitals, which is 33 hospitals in Rubaga Division, and also their distribution, which is evenly distributed. Then that's it. And from there, I also got to analyze how accessible are these hospitals. And I got to realize that all these hospitals are easily accessed since they are located along roads. And also for the people in the vicinity of their location, they can easily access them. Though there is a challenge of funding, especially for the government hospitals, and their state is not good. They are in a poor state. Some of the government hospitals are in a poor state, hence people not using them very much. Yes, so from these dashboards that I created, that is what I looked at, and I believe that this is some good information that we needed to know. And also I got to realize that there is an option for if one is staying in Gaba and needs to know where Gaba Community Hospital is, it zooms us right to Gaba Community Hospital and we can get to know how and where it's located. If you look at Gaba Community Hospital, you can see it's located along Gaba Road and easily accessed by the people in the neighborhood. Thank you very much. So from that, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate with sincere and a very grateful heart the Esri Eastern Africa team for their exceptional support throughout this project. And also my great appreciation goes to our country manager, Mr. Jonathan Wabwire, my supervisor, Mr. Edwin Chiimba, and also I extend my gratitude to Miss Maria and John, Mr. John, for their dedicated assistance. And this, with their combined efforts and commitment, they were instrumental to the success of this project. So in conclusion, this project has been truly enriching and an experience that I've developed skills in spatial data management, analysis, and visualization with Esri's ArcGIS, along with other hands-on expertise, such as building the dashboards. Then this project has not only enhanced my technical capabilities, but also reinforced my understanding of GIS as a powerful tool for addressing real urban challenges like we just looked at, and also an important milestone in my professional growth. Thank you very much for your time. Yes, let me take this opportunity to invite the next presenter, Mr. Nixon Asimwe. Please take on.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for listening in and for the great presentations, those who are presenting. My name is Nixon Asimwe, and I'm going to present to you the project that I worked on, which is ArcGIS for air quality monitoring. My name is Nixon Asimwe, like I first introduced myself. Civil engineering diploma graduate pursuing a Bachelor of Engineering in Environmental Engineering and Management at Chambago University. As a Q3 Esri intern, Esri is East African intern, I developed an air quality monitoring solution for Kampala, applying GIS to tackle environmental challenges to help get the insights about the air quality around Kampala. The executive summary: Kampala faces air pollution from different sources, that is the traffic, the industries, poor management system, so on and so forth. And in this project, I look at getting the data from the sensors which are already in place by the organized called AirCo. I get that data, I got their data, processed it in ArcGIS Pro, and then I published it online. The local processing ensured accuracy and reliability to provide policymakers and communities and organizations with actionable insights to address the air quality challenges that we are facing in Uganda. In Uganda, we have the air quality, which it's already available. However, we lack having it in an easy way to understand by the stakeholders and the general public. So in this project, I worked on ensuring that this data is processed and available to the public so that it can be easily accessed and easy to understand the general public and the policymakers and the government. My objectives, my main objective is to provide a solution to the to the program, like I stated, and that is availing the air quality data in an easy way to understand. To also import and process the air quality datasets into ArcGIS Pro, then interpret and visualize the air quality levels across Kampala. Then to publish web app and ArcGIS online and build an interactive dashboard, which can be used by the community to easily access the data and the policymakers to easily make policies and regulations. The benefits of the solution, one of them is that the reliable analysis through offline data cleaning and validation, which helps to get more accurate results. Also, the solution helps empower the communities with the insights which are data-driven. Also, it helps support policymakers while they're doing the planning and regulation. We will also have visualization of Kampala's air quality for informed understanding rather than the theoretical and what some people may assume. Someone may be assuming that pollution is bad, but they cannot have the actual data. They don't have the facts about it. Then also enhanced advocacy and awareness on pollution control. This is to help people take caution about the air quality happening or even the activities, or give some solution or suggestions and on how it can be dealt with. ArcGIS capabilities are leveraged. One of them is ArcGIS Pro for offline data processing, used to visualize and do the analysis, and as well as do the interpolation to get the data values across the areas where the air quality is.
Hello, Nixon. Asimwe. Are you still there?
I hope we are back and you can hear me.
Hello, Nixon. We can hear you.
And my screen as well? Yeah, sure. Thank you. I was talking about ArcGIS capabilities leveraged. I also used the ArcGIS dashboards to have the interactive, monitoring. Then also, I used the data overlays. Those are the road, the residential and industrial areas for the spatial context. Then the solution architecture. This is like the workflow of how I move from the beginning to the end. And I got my data from the AirCo database, process it using the ArcGIS desktop, that is ArcGIS Pro. Then after that, I published it on the ArcGIS Online, where I used ArcGIS Online to create the dashboards and the web maps. And then the end users, who are the citizens, policymakers, and organizations, can access that data and information through the mobile apps, computers or tablets. This is a map that shows this is the map that shows the air quality sensors where they are located. And if I can click on one of the air quality sensor, it should be able to give me the value of that sensor, of that air quality. I'll take you through the dashboard that I created for the project. On the extreme left, as you can see, I'm having the list of the sensors and the values. So this is the specific value on a specific date. And to be specific, this is the 1st of July, 2025. And here I'm having the total number of sensors, which are 56 that were active at that time. Right now, they could have increased. Then down next to that, I'm having the PM 2.5 standards. And PM 2.5, basically, it refers to the particles with the diameter which is less than 2.5 micrometers. These are fine particles that they can be easily inhaled by us. And also, they are basically from smoke, the vehicle emissions, and the industries. Then down, I'm having the maximum pollution value across all the data. And as we can see, the maximum pollution value is 207. Then I have the minimum value, which is 35.4. I have the average across all the data set, which is 102.1. Then on the details, I'm having the name of the location or the device that recorded the highest value. And the highest value is 207.7, and it was recorded at the monitor, which is at US Department, State of Uganda. And the lowest is at Mukwano Road device 4, and the value is 35.3. On PM 2.5 standards, we have the good, moderate, sensitive groups, unhealthy, and very unhealthy standards. By following this, it can help someone to know that this kind of air quality is not good for me, or it's very sensitive for some groups of people like the elderly or children. And by that, it can help even the community, the local community, to really take some action. For instance, someone, if they check the air quality and it's very bad, if it's like a parent, the parent can restrict the children from going outside to play around that time. While for the case of other agencies like the government, if they are after understanding the pattern, they will be able to know where to plant more trees, or to look for the policies, maybe to advocate for the electric vehicles and other related policies, or to put the regulations on the industries. On the extreme right, I'm having the air quality map, which happens to have most of the details that I'm talking about. For example, if I come on this sensor here, which is near Kamia Road, if I click on it, it displays for me the site name and also the value at that point. I'll first take you through the ArcGIS Pro and show you the interpolated data. Using the interpolation tool, I was able to identify the pollution, even in the places where where we have no sensors. For example, if I come near this point and click, even in an area where there is no sensor, I will be able to know the value that it is. For example, particulate matter, the value is 91. if I can get, and then if I go on the next point, I'll also be able to get another value. For example, that one is 111. Then for the case of the colors really show the severity depending on the values that we have. So if I come to this and, for example, click on this point, I will see that it is 43. And if I come here and click on this point, I will see that it is 202, which shows that the red is very high and the green is very low, or it's relatively low, or can be worked with. Then on this map, we'll be able to see how the air quality changes from one area to another, and we will be able to tell or find the analysis why are we having higher values in some areas and low values in some areas. For instance, if someone knows Kampala a bit, you will tell that this other part of Kampala, if as you come to Namirembe, Ugala, as you can see, and Mengo, this side is more, let me remove the interproject so that we can see it clearly. This side is more occupied and it has less of the green areas compared to this other area. As a result, as we know that trees take part in the sequestration. That's why this side we have very high values. Then also the other thing is the areas on this extreme right, if I can bring it back, they are having higher values because this side has more of the traffic. The traffic is usually this side and goes reducing as it extends these other sides. For example, the neighboring this side of Gaba and Nyonyo, this side there is a lake, of which that indicates that there is no way going beyond that. As a result, that side will be having better air quality compared to this side where traffic jam is more concentrated. Then we also have some other cases which are somehow special. For example, if we come to Mukwano Road, we'll see that their air quality is relatively better compared to even some other areas. But the reason for that is, and we all know, Mukwano area is basically for industries, and would expect an industrial area to be having very high values compared to others. But the reason really is because there are regulations behind the lower values that we see along Mukwano Road. Yet we will be expecting high values just because they are regulated before they emit, they're supposed to treat. I will demonstrate something else here. As you can see on the top here, I'm having a site locator. Now this site locator helps me to identify where the sensor is located, and I can take values from there. For example, if I come and search for an area like Banda, as we can see, it takes me to this point, which shows the area in the Banda area and the air quality position. And this is the Banda along Ginger Road. And I will be able to know the kind of air quality that is around this place in case I want to know. And automatically the other values in the dashboard are going to be affected. For example, they are going to show me the site name is Banda Kampala, then they'll display for me the value, then the number of sensors, of course, in Banda, having one sensor, then the minimum, because it's one, it will be the same as the maximum and the average. Then the other thing that we can actually do is, in case the sensor name or location is not input into the system, you can use another option you can use this search button and search for an area, for example, let's say in Tinder. If I search for Tinder, it will take me here in Tinder, and I will be able to see, I will be able to look for the nearby sensor, which is also this one along Ginger Road. And for the case of the interpolated data, I will be able to also get the data around Tinder, though we may not have the air quality sensor around that place. Let me also try the one of Banda. Sorry. If I do the same for Banda, it also does the same. Let me clear all the sites. Yes, that's how the interactive map is used. For the case of the interpreted data, you'd only click on the point, and then it gives you the value even on the areas that are not having the air quality sensors, like I've demonstrated in ArcGIS Pro. The other handy tools that I've included in this, we have different base maps. In case someone is visualizing or would like to see it for different reasons, they can also change the base maps. We have the legend, which shows the ranges in which the air quality sensors are, and these are the values. And another handy tool is, in case the person wants to know the kind of air quality of where they are, they can also come and click on use current location, and they'll be taken to their current location. For example, where we are here at this very exact spot in Tinder, and a person will be able to get the data value around that place. I would like to acknowledge and extend my heartfelt gratitude to Esri South Africa for equipping me with these skills that I will believe are going to be so good, and I'm going to use them to even develop more solutions. I would like to send my special thanks to Mr. Jonathan, the country manager of Esri Eastern Africa. And I would also like to appreciate Mr. Edwin for the training sessions we have had, as well as Brenda, June, and Maria, who are dedicated staff and made my learning experience so nice and enriching. And finally, I would like to acknowledge and appreciate my fellows that I've been training with at Esri South Africa for their collaboration, and finally, the Air Corps for providing the data quality that strengthened this project. Yeah, the conclusion, this internship provided hands-on experience to the real-world projects, and I really believe my skills in ArcGIS have been enhanced and have increased tremendously, and I really believe I would do so much with these skills wherever I go, and I look forward to into upscaling this project so that it can be more interactive, it can be automated, so that it can serve even wider, even other cities and even other areas. Thank you so much for listening to me.